Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is finally done. The nightmare is, well, not over, let's be honest, because the season is still happening. But Graham Potter has been sacked by Chelsea. And I honestly didn't feel like it was going to happen because he's had worse results than this one and still managed to survive. But the final nail in the coffin, of course, being the 2-0 defeat to Aston Villa at Stamford Bridge on Saturday. And it's just come to a conclusion, finally, at last, what has been a horrible, horrible tenure for Graham Potter as Chelsea manager, with his win percentage of, I think it was 39% or something outrageous like that. He is certainly the worst Chelsea manager I've seen in my time, and I've sat through some horrible times as a Chelsea fan. When you think of the likes of Andre Villas-Boas, Rafa Benitez at times, although he did win us the Europa League in fairness, the likes of Scolari, Avram Grant, but Frank Lampard, I suppose, towards the end of his tenure as well. But as bad as those managers were, they were never as bad as Chelsea were under Graham Potter. Literally the worst win percentage of any Chelsea manager in the 21st century. Horrific. And the defeat to Villa meant that they passed us out in the Premier League table, moving us down to 11th in the table. And it's fucking April. Like, this isn't August or September and we're down in 11th. No, lads, it's April. The season's nearly done and Chelsea are floating around in the bottom half of the Premier League table. It just felt like it had to happen, particularly if you look at our last 7 or 8 games. We are playing a lot of the teams that are up the further end of the table. We still have to play Arsenal again. We still have to play Manchester City again. We play Newcastle on the final day. We are well and truly bollocksed, and it would have been so much worse than it could potentially be had Graham Potter stayed in charge. We're also playing Real Madrid in the Champions League in a couple of weeks, and if Graham Potter was still in charge of Chelsea, it was easily going to be a 5 or 6-0 on aggregate fucking defeat. 100% tactically inept. And don't get me wrong, Graham Potter showed promising signs when he was Brighton manager, and you know, the project was certainly interesting, and it was definitely a different direction for Chelsea Football Club to go in. You know, usually bringing in that kind of finished article when it comes to a manager. We kind of thought to ourselves, look, we have to give Graham Potter time. He's definitely a manager that has to come in and has to be given time and resources. And to a degree, I can see why some rival fans go, well, you haven't given him time and resources. Well, we've certainly given him fucking resources. 600 million Chelsea has spent this summer, 300 odd million in the January transfer window alone. But I think the biggest problem for me is that we never seen any sort of development with this squad. And with the amount of money he was given, with the players he was given, yes, obviously it's going to take time to turn this team of very talented on paper Chelsea players into a world-beating Champions League or potential Premier League winning side. But the problem was, we never saw any of that. There was never any reason to be excited about Chelsea, and that's why there was such a lack of a connection between Potter and the fans. And every time he came out in a press conference after a game, it just got worse. You lose 2-0 at Villa. We were positive. There was positive things to talk about there. You bottle a lead against Everton at home. Yeah, look, there's positive things to look at there. The lads really did put in a lot of effort, and that's all we can ask for. Bollocks! Your Chelsea Football Club manager. There had to come to a point where it was stick or twist, and finally, I think Todd Boehly has come to what I believe to be the correct decision in sacking Graham Potter. And look, will it have any repercussions between now and the end of this season? I personally don't think so. I think our season is absolutely finished. We're not even going to finish in Europe. I was going to say we're not going to finish in the Champions League, which was obviously the goal at the beginning of the season. We're not going to finish in Europe this season, and I'd take Europa League football. I'd rather not play in that fucking European Conference League fucking shite. But Chelsea, we're not even getting a choice of that at the minute, because we're nowhere even near that. We're not even going to qualify for Europe this season. We could easily finish in the current position we are now in 11th of the table, because as I said, our fixtures between now and the end of the season are absolutely disgusting. Are we going to win the Champions League? Fuck no. Absolutely not. I mean, even if we somehow manage to get by Real Madrid, you've still got either Manchester City or Thomas Tuchel's Bayern Munich to come up against after that. Listen, this season has been an absolute shit show from start to finish, and I won't be surprised if Amazon Prime are knocking on Todd Boehly's door during the summer saying, can we make a little documentary about you lot next season? Sorry, you missed the fucking bus, okay? Because you should have made your documentary this year. You would have got such amazing content content out of it. Obviously, starting off with the absolute shit show, which was the Roman Abramovich kind of sanctions that happened, the selling of Chelsea Football Club. Todd Boehly comes in and takes over. You're thinking, alright, there's going to be a transitional period there. The summer transfer window, shambolic some of the signings. And we look at the game against Villa the weekend. The first goal, Koulibaly and Cucurella. Ting 1 and Ting fucking 2. I mean, it sums up their seasons as a whole. And before the international break, you were starting to maybe come around to them a little bit. That bringing back the old kind of Thomas Tuchel system with the wing backs kind of suited the likes of Koulibaly and Cucurella, but back to their old selves after the international break. You also bring in Raheem Sterling, who started off the season alright, but has been injured, and when he has played since then, he's been poor. Then you look at January, the signings we brought in. Yes, Enzo Fernandez looks like a very, very decent signing. Joao Felix could indeed be a very good signing. Benoit Badiashile likewise. But the problem with Chelsea is that it doesn't look like there's any sort of plan or logic behind anything that we're doing. Sacking Thomas Tuchel was the worst thing Todd Boehly could have done. Like, he sack him after 3 or 4 games? Bollocks fucking shit. Like, we're trying to run a business here. We're trying to win trophies and ultimately have Chelsea Football Club be a successful football club which continues to win things like we have been, a winning machine since 2003, really. Doesn't matter who you're talking to or who you're fucking best mates with. Thomas Tuchel was clearly the best man for the job and we let him go. Like, that was a mistake from the fucking get-go. Bringing Graham Potter in was definitely a different direction, but it was clear very quickly that it wasn't working. Like, he should have gone months ago, let's be honest. And I bring it back to the fact that he didn't show us as Chelsea fans anything to suggest that he deserves any sort of time or fucking money in the bank. I said after we knocked Dortmund out of the Champions League, he's earned himself a little bit of time, but he's got to follow it up with good performances and wins, and he couldn't do either of those things. And as a result, he's got the sack. And finally, Todd Boehly has come to his senses and done what is right for the club. Like, I think the defeat against Villa the weekend perfectly sums up everything that was horrible about Graham Potter's tenure at Chelsea. I mean, playing players out of position horrifically. Like, it got to the point where you're thinking, wow, are you actually trying to be sacked? Because some of the decisions, like in the starting 11 in particular, and then his in-game management, piss poor. Absolutely piss poor. Our two arguably best attacking assets, Reece James at right wing back, Ben Chilwell at left wing back. Reece James starts at right centre back. But we're going to start Ruben Loftus-Cheek, a midfielder, a bad one at that, at right wing back. We're going to start Marc Cucurella, number 1, who shouldn't be anywhere near the starting 11 anyway. We're going to play him at left centre back. And I believe Ben Chilwell actually ended the game at left centre back. Spoiler alert, I didn't actually see the second half of the Chelsea game because I was in at the Longford Town game doing commentary on their game against Kerry. But meanwhile, you've got Trevoh Chalobah and Benoit Badiashile on the bench. Why? Listen, I know I'm giving out about a result that's in the past and now the manager is gone, but like it's these build-up of consistent fraudulent behaviour from Graham Potter which has ultimately resulted in him getting sacked, and it's about fucking time. Who comes in next for Chelsea? Who knows? Bruno Salter is taking charge of Chelsea for the foreseeable. Will they just stick with him between now and the end of the season? Who's to say, really, and who's to say what the right thing is to do? Like, if you bring someone in like a Julian Nagelsmann in now, who is obviously being linked with the Chelsea job, he can't be expected to do anything between now and the end of the season. But you've got such a quality group of Chelsea players there. Like the likes of Enzo Fernandez not been really let show his true colours yet. Mason Mount, who I'm praying to God fucking stays, didn't even get a run out at the weekend. I know he's only coming back from injury, but still, come on man, we need a goal. You got our best player over the last 2 years in an offensive sense sitting on the bench and you refuse to bring him on. Like, I don't fucking understand it. But look, he's gone. Will it be Nagelsmann? Will it be Luis Enrique? Will it be Zinedine Zidane? Fuck knows. All I know is this club is an absolute mess and the way it's being run is a mess. It's literally just a case of spend, spend, spend. No tactful thought about where we're going. We need a manager who knows what he's fucking doing. We need a winner. We need a winner, and that was probably one of the biggest flaws for Graham Potter, which is I don't think he's a winner. He's not. It never really fit the structure. It never really fit the identity of a club like Chelsea, who, like I've said, have been a winning machine for the last 2 decades. And ultimately, the way he talked, the way he composed himself, it was never a right fit. It was never a right fit. He'll still get a job as a mid-table manager somewhere in the Premier League, which is ultimately what he ended up as at Chelsea. But it wasn't a right fit. And finally, thankfully, Todd Boehly has done the right thing. So Chelsea fans, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Who would you like to see in charge of Chelsea from next season? And, I mean, was it the right decision to sack Graham Potter? I certainly think so, and I think the large majority of Chelsea fans would agree with me there. But if you have an alternate argument, please explain it to me in the comment section down below, and we'll start a little bit of a dialogue. But, oh, I'm just relieved that he's gone. I'm just relieved that he's finally fucking gone. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Leave a like in the video if you did enjoy. Big week of videos coming up. Goal recreations for the Premier League, and another Crinkle Bottoms Crusaders episode coming out very shortly indeed this week. And yeah, stay well, stay fit, stay healthy, and I'll catch you guys in a bit. Take care.